tap to generate fire and a shield and absorb nearby Manuscript. Each Manuscript absorbed deals 1 instance of damage to a nearby enemy and bounces twice between enemies, while also increasing shield strength. Single target enemies cannot be bounced. Specific shield strength gain, question mark. Love those type of leaks, they're fun. Burst, Q. Tap to deal AoE damage and generate a large amount of Manuscript. When the team has 0, 1, 2 resonance element, additionally generate question mark Manuscript. Fake? Yeah, I mean, I know it was taken down, so it might just be fake, but it might just be real. Sometimes they take them down for other reasons. Might as well take a look, right? Talent 1. When casting skill E, the maximum shield generated based on absorbed instances provides attack to nearby characters. Talent 2. When triggering an elemental burst, different effects are granted based on the number of Hexerai affiliated characters in the team. 1 character, increase shield strength. 2 characters, restore elemental energy for characters of the same element. 3 characters, reduces cooldown of all teams' skills. What the fuck? 4 characters, generates a construct at the enemy's position upon hit. Construct does not attack. Shares the same element as the user. As the user? Is that Nicole? Or is that other characters? Okay. When the owner dies or the duration ends, the construct disappears. Probably who's on field. Oh. The construct allow Hexerai teams to still trigger bounce effects even in single target situations, ensuring Nicole's full output. Hexerai talent. Damage dealt with when skill E absorbs manuscripts has further increased. I see, I guess. Watch Nicole be a Mawika upscale instead of Varka, surely.
Many insects have a compulsion.
Can you... Looks like a sub DPS? Yeah. Does that Nicole kit sound believable? Not really. It sounds too, like, interesting. Like, maybe I'm just underestimating them, but that seems really cool. But like, I don't get why you would care about reducing cooldown of all team skill. Like, is there a single team that would want Nicole that's gated by skill cooldown and not burst cooldown? Or maybe it's not like reduction on current skill cooldown. Maybe it's skill CDR. If it's skill CDR, then it would be useful. Because like you can't use Nicole's burst during Varka's skill. So if it just reduces cooldown of skills, like progresses the cooldown, like Shilonen C2 for electro characters, that's useless. But if it's skill CDR, that's different. CDR is cooldown reduction. If it's skill cooldown reduction, then that's way different. But I don't think we have any ability type specific cooldown reduction in the game right now. All cooldown reduction I think that we have that's like available externally is for everything. But I guess Bennett does have skill only cooldown reduction on his own kit, like 20% skill CDR on A1 and 50% on A4. And if she is Big Bennett, it does make sense for her to give that to the whole team. Wait, maybe this does make sense actually. Maybe this is real. Or Lucino does. That's not cooldown reduction though. That's like, it's a reduction of cooldown, but it's not the stat cooldown reduction. Chongyun C2. Chongyun C2 is for every ability. It's not just skills. It's in for animal resonance. But that's actually kind of cool though if it's real. I wonder how much cooldown reduction it would be. Isn't that big for Varka? Right now, you kind of swap out of Varka, like, right after the second skill. So unless you get so much cooldown reduction that the second skill happens way earlier and the third skill happens at a similar time as the current second skill, then you might not even want to stay on field long enough to get the third skill, even if you get cooldown reduction. It might not be all that meaningful for Varka. Who would it be useful for, though? Klee? Question mark? Varessa? That's interesting. But you're not ditching Traveler's any Onson for this, right? Like, there's no fucking way in hell. Because this is 3 Hexerai. So, like, there's no way you're doing that. There's no way that's worth it. Cloen, maybe? And Cloen already kind of likes going Official Durin. Eshu is really nice to have access to on Cloen, so having a shielder would be pretty nice. Okay. Wait, maybe we're cooking here. What about Zabai? Yeah, let me just bring 3 Hexerai units, including a Pyro character, on my Zabai team. That seems like a great idea. Let's do Mona, Albedo, Nicole. Surely Mona will be enough Hydro. Brilliant. Is benching Chevaliers even worth it in Overload? It depends. If you have C6 on Chevaliers, it's kind of hard to justify benching her. But if you don't, Hexerai Durin is 35 shred and some personal damage. Non-C6 Chevaliers is 40 shred and 40% attack. They can kind of be similar, really. And once you have one of them, the other one becomes less valuable because you don't care about the shred nearly as much anymore. So, like, yeah, you can knock Chevaliers out of some overload teams sometimes. Arlecchino likes Fischl and Durin too, yeah. And the rotations are already kind of weird on Arlecchino teams. You can probably take advantage of cooldown reduction as well. How much worse is Chlorine C0 R1 than Varessa? I have a benched Absolution lying around. It depends on the team you're playing. Are you playing double carry with Mawika? Or are you playing actual electro carry with Durin? If you're playing actual electro carry with Durin, Chlorine, even with Absolution, is pretty noticeably behind. If you're playing double carry, Absolution Chlorine will be like probably less than 10% team DPS behind Varessa. It might be closer actually. Because it's only like basically less than half of your team DPS. Like, in the Verissa Mawika team, when you're playing it optimally, Verissa and Mawika get a similar amount of DPS and a similar amount of field time. In the Chlorine Mawika team, Chlorine gets a bit less, but it's only half of your damage that's less now, instead of most of your damage. So it's a lower impact on the team DPS. But, like, also, Chlorine is still worse than Auroron. Just because you have Absolution doesn't mean you should pull for Chlorine for those teams. The gap between her and Verissa is smaller. Alright, so if you like her, you can go for her. But don't feel like you should get her because you lost a 50-50 to Absolution at some point in the past. CDR does nothing for Venti and Duran. Maybe there's some weird 2-skill Duran bullshit you can do. But with Venti, you don't even really care that much about doing that. You get so much energy anyways. It needs to be burst cooldown 2 hours, Chlorine won't get shit. You might be able to do some like 25-second rotations with 2-skill Chlorine without TF though. Like, that's what I'm thinking. If you can get 25% CDR, Chlorine skill will go to 12. You already do 25-second rotation with 2 skill on the Quicken Chlorine teams with TF, right? And it's like slightly better than 16-second rotations with Whimsy, but it's like relatively similar. And that's with the massive stat difference between Whimsy and TF, right? Just because the rotations line up so much better. Doing proper official uptime is already so horrible. It really won't be that bad when you don't have to rely on the TF procs anymore and you just get 12 seconds by default. It should be like way easier to line up because you could just always swap to official before Chlorine uptime, right before Chlorine uptime. Like, realistically, optimal rotation would probably be some shit like open with official E, Chevreuse Duran, then Chlorine E, official burst, then Chlorine burst, and then Chlorine again. It probably won't even be that much higher than just swapping to official before Chlorine every time. Isn't this fake, Nicole Leaks? It very well might be fake, but it's still kind of interesting to think about. Even if it turns out to be fake, it's basically just a fictional character we can think about. How skill cooldown reduction could affect the meta. It's still kind of cool. Wait, I just realized Chevreuse doesn't work. You need 3 Hexerai. You need to overload before you get the Chevreuse. Like, when you're playing Chevreuse team, not really. Like, in Stygian, yeah, because you don't have her burst, but outside of Stygian, no. And also in Stygian, you can't open your first rotation normally anyways. And then on the second rotation, you trigger overload during your uptime, so you don't need to trigger overload during your setup anymore. Right, so in Stygian, it doesn't matter. You'll trigger overload getting your bursts anyways. In Abyss, you have Chevreuse burst to trigger overload, so you just need to get the Electro out at the start. And on the second rotation, it just happens naturally anyways. But this is really cool. I do think this sort of stuff could be really interesting. Cooldown reduction in general is such a cool stat. It can warp characters' like default like play pattern. Flynn's C1, right, is skill cooldown reduction. It allows him to get 1 full extra instance of damage, right? Like, he goes from 2 mini bursts to 3. And that really changes how his teams are played. Right, he ends up with more uptime or more field time. And like for Chlorine too, default Chlorine rotations, because of her 16-second cooldown, kind of feel awful. You get a lot of 18-second cooldown support or 12-second cooldown support, 25-second cooldown support really, but that can be swapped to twice for 12-second each, aka official. Reducing her skill cooldown to 12, it helps you deal with that. Like 18 seconds, you can kind of just deploy right before your first uptime, and they'll kind of still be up by the end of your second skill. And the 12-second ones can be just deployed twice. And it really, it like completely changes the way you approach team building to have access to cooldown reduction, which is really cool. I like that. We can actually try to think about which characters can potentially benefit from cooldown reduction. Obviously, we can dismiss characters like Nefer, where like, even if she does benefit from cooldown reduction, she could never use Nicole. Yeah, so obviously the first one is Varka, but I don't know how I feel about Varka. Cooldown reduction on him is nice because his skill is good, but it's also only nice if it reaches a breakpoint, and it might not reach a breakpoint. It needs to be a lot of cooldown reduction to reach a breakpoint. Maybe it doesn't, right? Since he does have flat cooldown reduction, it makes percentage cooldown reduction better. Because like effectively his special skill cooldown is 11 seconds. So he has to go through 22 seconds worth of cooldown to get 2 skills, or 33 to get 3 skills. But he also gets refund. My god, there's so much fucking yap in this shit. You can get up to 15 seconds of cooldown refund, which makes the effective cooldown for this 7 seconds to get 2 skills if you get all 15 instances of refund, and 18 seconds to get 3, right? This is doable. This is not even close to doable. So 1 skill, 2 skill. But what about with cooldown reduction? So this is 0% CDR, 5% CDR, 5% here. So because of the way that the flat cooldown reduction and the percentage cooldown reduction work together, instead of 5% reduction getting you your skill 5% faster, it gets you your skill 15% faster. But it's not 15 on the 3 skill thing. It's only 15 on the 2 skill thing, and it's about 9 on the 3 skill thing. Let's see what happens when we start getting a little bit more cooldown reduction. With 10% CDR, getting 2 skills out, assuming you get 15 attacks. Obviously, you can't get 15 attacks in 5 seconds, but like assuming that you can just get all the 15 attacks no matter what, you would only have a 5-second effective cooldown to get, I don't know why I said 1 skill here. This is 2 skill. This is 3 skill. 14 is still not really doable though. But with enough cooldown reduction, at 25 cooldown reduction, getting 3 skills went from 18 seconds of field time, which isn't fucking happening, to 9 seconds of field time, which actually might be able to happen. And at 35% cooldown reduction, it's faster to get 3 skills than it would be to get 2 skills without any cooldown reduction. Because the effective cooldown reduction you get by compounding the flat reduction and the percent reduction, instead of 35, is now 64. It's so much more. So if Nicole provides a very large amount of cooldown reduction, at 50% cooldown reduction, you might be able to do 4 skills. Because then again, right? 4 skill at 50% cooldown reduction is the same as 2 skill at 0. All of this and Nicole won't do reduction? Yeah, pretty much. But still. It is interesting. Isn't his skill barely better than his normal attacks? I mean, it's not that big of a difference across the full uptime because you only get 2 of them. So the difference between Varka without using a special skill at all, and Varka using the 2 special skills isn't that big. But that doesn't mean that he does the same DPS using the skill and not using the skill. It's just that because he only gets 2 of them, the impact of it throughout a whole rotation is kind of small. But if he goes from 2 to 4, that starts being a pretty big difference. Would Arlecchino like cooldown reduction because you would have higher average bound of life? In reaction teams, it might not matter. You might not be able to use your E off cooldown because it might ruin your setups. In overload teams, yeah, she would like it. And overload teams are the ones that can fit 3 Hexorite anyways, right? Fischl, Durin, Nicole. So I could definitely see Arlecchino being a character that benefits from it, yeah. Flynn's actually could. Not that it would be very good, because, well, no, he can't. Never mind. You need Ascendant Gleam on Flynn's. I was thinking of 2 Hexorite Flynn's and like how that's like not bad, but you can't do 3 Hexorite because if you do 3 Hexorite, that's 1 Nod Cry. And then you don't have Ascendant Gleam, and then your burst does half damage. Less than half damage, actually. So then that's pretty dog shit. Yeah, okay, never mind. I mean, maybe we get a Hexorite Mondstadt witch. Maybe that new character, the animal girl, supposedly, is gonna be Moonsign Hex. Who knows? Hexorite not quite. You mean, yeah, what did I say? Well, you could do Inefa, though, because Inefa is just Flynn's, but off field. But I guess Inefa doesn't care about skill cooldown, so who cares? No, that's not happening. No. You could do Veressa, but I think with Veressa, it's a little cooked. I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe like, Nicole is good enough that it's not bad to do Veressa. The thing is, the impact on Veressa isn't as high as other characters, because she doesn't, like, need to have 1 more skill. Maoika wouldn't really change anything. Chaska wouldn't really change anything. Maybe. Rotation length reduction on Knight teams wouldn't be bad, I guess. Fischl during Nicole seems okay. Maybe Albedo during Nicole. Seems fine, but not that meaningful. Because, like, he doesn't actually get more skills, like more ease, more cannon shots during his skill. It would just reduce the cooldown of his overall skill, which might be useful, but it depends on Nicole animation length and all that. That doesn't matter. Chlorine, like I talked about earlier, if it's 25%-ish cooldown reduction, it would actually be pretty meaningful for Chlorine. You'd be able to do 12-second double or 25-second double Chlorine uptime rotation, which is actually, like, pretty meaningful. It would actually be a big upgrade for Chlorine's teams. TF Chlorine exists? Yeah, because getting 2 skills on Chlorine is really good. TF gives, like, no stats, though, and Whimsy's a pretty solid artifact set. If you could get the cooldown reduction from TF without losing the stats, that would be pretty good. Yeah. Kirk Melt for ult rotations. You can already skill twice for burst anyways. That doesn't help. And using skill 3 times doesn't do anything. This wouldn't matter. Arlecchino, obviously. In overload teams, you might be able to just get higher average bound of life. That'd be pretty nice. Could Navia do this? Yeah, actually. Navia could do this. Durin, Albedo, Nicole, and maybe get like actual 3 per rotation. Those teams sound like they kind of struggle with uptime too. You got like 9-ish seconds of Navia bullshit to do. Then plus your setups, that doesn't get to 18 seconds. So adding 1 more E doesn't sound like it will necessarily increase rotation length. Isn't she gated by crystallized shard generation? Having more crystallized shard generation isn't necessary. It just gives her more damage percent on E. She gets to 3 on each E, even on 3 E rotations, pretty trivially. It's just getting from 3 to 6, but that doesn't double your motion value anymore. It's just a little bit of damage percent, and she already has a lot of damage percent, so it's not necessary. It's nice, but it's not necessary. And if what Nicole is providing is really good, then, I mean, that's bog. You're pretty happy with that. Would he be better than Binea? I mean, depends on how good Nicole is. Probably not. Nicole would have to be insanely strong for it to be better than Binea, but, like, maybe she is. I don't fucking know. Can you do Nicole, Durin, then Chlorivia for a dual carry team? I mean, you wouldn't get the cooldown reduction if you do that. I guess you could. I mean, you can do that right now. What's stopping you? The fact that you want to deal damage? Don't know if Nicole is going to be enough to fix that issue. Hey, please stop moaning. Nah. Grizzly can't really work here, right? Neuvillette doesn't really care about the skill cooldown reduction. I mean, even if he could work, he doesn't care about the skill cooldown reduction either, right? Lenny, it would probably just work, but it might not be better than Chivalrous. I don't know. Yeah, the Dendro bullshit won't really... Well, no, it won't work. Maybe Sino cares. Because, like, especially TF Sino actually sees some pretty meaningful increases in the amount of skills he gets with skill cooldown reduction. So it might actually be a pretty big deal. But you can't do TF. Can you do TF? No, because you'd want to use Fischl. You can't do TF. His enhanced E is on a fixed cooldown. Is it? Because TF reduces the cooldown. Oh, you mean the I thing? Yeah, sure. Fair, I guess. What about Lisa? No, Lisa doesn't care. Could this work? Meh. Like, technically, yes, but it won't be good. Kind of same here. What the fuck are you doing if... I mean, I guess you can play Vape Durin with on-field Ayato, but, like, why are you doing that over Mona at this point, right? Like, meh. Yai doesn't care. No, that's not gonna work. Raiden doesn't care. Ayaka doesn't care. The problem is that Yoimiya doesn't really benefit that much from cooldown reduction, because her uptime is already pretty long, right? It's not like Cloud where she has dead time in her rotations. If she just uses one skill and then rotates through support burst, and then you just have to stare at the enemy and wait. With Yoimiya, you don't have to wait because her skill lasts longer. She wouldn't really benefit from cooldown reduction in the same way. No. Meh. Not really. Not really. Not really. Venti carry wouldn't hate it, I guess. Like, it's fine. That's kind of it, right? Razor doesn't really care. You use Razor's skill to refresh the C4, not because it's actually good. You're better off normal attacking than using skill on Razor. If it wasn't for the C4 Death Shred, his optimal combo wouldn't have any skill past the ones necessary for energy. For Venti, the biggest W is reducing Farazan 20-second cooldown. That's not really important though, because Farazan is full uptime, so you don't have to, like, no one in the Venti team needs to stay on field to get their effects, so you can just do a 15-second rotation that swaps to Farazan when the button starts shining. The burst duration is 12, but with this is 18. It's like a 19-second cooldown with Animal Resonance, so it's basically just full uptime. I don't know if this is extended by... Lasts for 4 seconds. It lingers for 4 seconds. I didn't even know that. But I don't know if you would care, though, because, like, with Venti carry, the 4-character effect from Nicole might be better than Farazan's Shred, right? You already have the Shred from Durin anyways, so depending on how much damage Nicole does, this might just be better, and then you just use Fischl, and it's probably just better anyways. Can you explain the 4-character effect? So, again, right, like, this leak is probably fake. Take it with a massive grain of salt. But it says that her skill has, like, kind of like a Beto effect where it bounces between enemies. It doesn't bounce in single target. And if you have 4 Hexerai, it creates an entity that can be bounced off of, so that it would still deal the extra damage in single target. So if this is how it works, then obviously her damage would be way higher in single target if you have this versus if you don't. But depending on how much her damage is, that might be meaningful or it might not be meaningful.